You're just in time. Saved you a seat for The Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self improvement. And my sole aim for tonight is to let you know that you need hope in life. My inspiration for tonight's episode is trying to compose the best argument possible for you. For anyone that might find this video and click on this, I want to be able to tell you what I wish I could have had someone tell me for most of my life. And that is you actually have every reason to believe whatever you want to happen, whatever kind of life you want to live before it's all said and done. All of your dreams and your goals and the accomplishments that you desire right now, they both can and will happen for you. The immediate counter I hear from so many people, pessimists, cynists, just disbelievers alike, is that it's hard to walk around with this sense of delusion. The whole, it's almost tying itself into fake it until you make it, pretending, oh, everything's awesome. Everything is sunshine and rainbows, that it's all going to work itself out in the end. There isn't even anything to actually worry about. When behind the scenes is the very opposite. You're just trying to hold up this facade while you're on your way there, trying to keep up with your process, trying to do what's necessary, trying to live your best life. Holding on to the hope of it so you can continue to fuel yourself in this way. This unshakable belief is one of the best things I could recommend you grow for yourself. I mean, you just imagine for a second, whether you find yourself in a process right now or you don't have one yet, and you're actually thinking about getting into some kind of self-improvement. And so you could, whether you want to call it delusion or not, you are able to persuade yourself, I am going to be as hopeful as possible from here on out. I'll wake up tomorrow and just believe it will be a wonderful day. And that the day after that, and the day after that, and how about for all the time that you have left in this world, it will be magnificent and beautiful. If you could truly embrace that with your mind right now, you say, I do believe. So right here, we are already beginning to we're getting a lot closer to the power of hope. And the way that it manifests in life, I believe, is the longer you're able to stay positive, the more your life will reinforce how you are thinking about it. You will begin to see actual events and outcomes, even on a daily basis, to prove to you things are actually getting better, that things are not nearly as bad as when you would have zero hope. And before I, dive even deeper into that and unpack it, I'll say, for me personally, maybe the most tempting reason for so long that I refused to, it wasn't an actual active choice for me consistently to say, I don't want to put any hope into anything. How about it just happens in the way that it will? separately from me. Okay, if it happens in my favor, yay. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter. It's what I expected. It's um, just the world proving to me I was right all along, never to have any kind of hope. It almost develops into this self-defense mechanism for human beings, the way I see it, especially if you come from a background where again and again and again, and I mean this happens to all of us. I mean, just living the human experience. But sure, definitely varies. And some will experience it more than others, where maybe one too many times you were proven wrong. Some kind of promise, something you worked really hard for, something you knew that would work out, something that you had placed all of your heart and all of your faith into, that it would turn out okay, and it didn't. It quite possibly it ended up being a tragedy. It ended up turning into something awful, terrible. I mean, these are people's greatest regrets, and it's so evil, because once the situation passes, and whatever the mistake is, for everyone to move on, it is, depending of course on how serious the situation is. I'm talking about learning from it. And after you do that, I mean, what else is there left to do but leave it in the past? Once it is back there, what you have is now, and you're right, all of your future, the rest of your future, however much you get of it. And I think that's so crazy. A past event, regardless of how badly it happened, could take away from you the potential, good, and the possibility of what could be wonderful, of what could be amazing for you in the future, because you never dare to allow yourself to hope ever again. Belief is, it's so much stronger. I mean, some people like new age spirituality. I mean, it's very conceptual, it's very idealistic. It's really just a perspective more than anything else. I'm really not so sure about that. I'm talking about tangible effects of positivity on your life for you to experience, with one simple, but perhaps far from easy, depending on the person. But this is such a dramatic shift in looking at your entire life, one day at a time. You go from I will allow myself to expect the very best that could possibly happen for me. Until it actually does, I will simply live in that way. I will do whatever is in my power to enjoy life, to to stay on the side of not knowing what could happen. See, I mean, that's so tricky. That's all the unknown. That's what the future brings. Really, no one can say for sure until it happens, and it won't happen until you get there. So it can happen one of two ways. I mean, that's the optimism, or that is the pessimism. This kind of glass half full or half empty. Going at it half full in life. Okay, that is to essentially be as hopeful as possible. It makes so much more sense the more you do it, if you could try. It's kind of I'm building it upon this premise of, why wouldn't you though? And so that's self that's self-defense mechanism. because I don't want to be let down. I don't want the happiness I built up for myself to crash and burn. That one's so tough. That's the one that I dealt with for so long in my own life. It is really difficult. But you have to look at the cost of it when you live like this for long enough, and you don't even give this to yourself. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. It is perpetual darkness, because it feels more maybe logically comfortable to stay in the dark. Okay. Okay. In just in case there is a scenario you wished for the light and you don't get it. What I see happening right there is it's not that you're not getting your best outcomes and your best life, dream partner, financial freedom, the dream job, dream home, right? Just these are stereotypical details of anyone's average my best life. Disbelief, though, disbelief is to forfeit that. No, no, I know. I'm speaking in such absolutes. I'm talking I'm talking as if I'm telling you right now you're gonna have it no matter what. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But to not believe, to take hope out of your life, is you yourself robbing, stealing from yourself. You are ensuring those things could never happen. It it's not possible for someone who doesn't believe. Someone who doesn't believe is most likely not going to take the necessary actions to make it happen. See, that's the trick, and I don't want you to fall for it. So many are in life. It's a ton of doom and gloom, and for very good reason. I'm not telling anyone to be ignorant of the very real struggles and issues of our current modern age, and also of present society. All sorts of challenges. It's tough being hopeful nowadays. There is really, it always seems to be so much catastrophe looming on the horizon. It's a shame for that to ruin just your own daily sense of joy and everything that you do in life. I always, I'm trying, to peel back the layers, you know, the procrastination and laziness and the unwillingness and yeah, not able to focus and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all very real, and there are all sorts of tools to try and counteract these what I call symptoms of a joyless life, a purposeless life, an unfulfilled life. But when you go past this, okay, especially when we're talking about the modern male human experience, and for a man to wake up every single day and just want to try as hard as he can, okay, what would really be stopping that? I mean, yes, of course, it's a lot of habits. It's a lot of routine. Okay, but once again, these are all sorts of choices and decisions being made every single day that lead you down a certain path. So for you to keep walking it, though, for you to stay on it, you know, right? Again, make sure you don't do anything else with your life. You don't try anything else. You don't go about this any other way. It's always Groundhog's Day. It's always these same choices. Like this is the job, and it may not be enough, but it allows me to get by. And, it pays, and it at the very least it makes ends meet, even though it doesn't really give you anything extra left over. Okay. And then that ends, and you go home and you do whatever it is that you always do. See, no hope. Okay. The belief, I couldn't do more than this. Life could not be more than this. Then see, this is what I'm talking about. This is why the power of hope and how it goes both ways is it's so much more potent and real than people would dare give it credit for. Because if you live like this in life, I don't want to be a dreamer. I don't dare dream. Okay, because to do that is to have faith in so much of the unknown. It is to believe it in a process that is so much bigger than me. This journey, it stretches so long, so far into the future. How could I possibly hold up this sense of belief and hope for that long? You know, for for to be able to continue, with a smile, even when life again and again and again it gives you the rejection, it gives you the reason to quit, it shows you how you're not enough, it continues to prove to you you're still inadequate in this way, right? And it goes on and on. The real tragedy is behind all of this. What you, me, I believe no human being can say. Really, only one. He's not human. I mean, I believe that only God would truly know in this way whether it actually will happen or not. It's not up to you and me. It's more so, what's really important here is it's more up to you and me to live it, bro. That it's done nonetheless, that you go through it regardless. You still try. You still make the attempt. Do you see? So it's not really much of a choice anymore. Okay? So I got to give it my all and maybe I'll have it, or I don't and I never will. So that's right. For a man who really does want to take himself seriously and his own life seriously, I assume you do. Then that this is what I mean by it's a no-brainer. You have already decided in this way. It's just to continue to. You can't. You're hanging like, oh, if only any of us could try once and it could work out. But you most definitely going to have to try countless times. See, right there, that is so excruciating to do without being able to hope. Okay, and then if you're with me on this, okay, and human beings, as beneficial as I'm painting hope to be for any person trying to live their best life, especially men, then you have to say, an interesting coincidence right there. The greatest source of hope would be God. That the only one, if you believe in God too, the only being in this entire universe, in all of existence, that already knows how it's going to play out. And that's not last I checked, that won't be something God shares with you, me, humanity, and yet he tells us to all the same. What's even crazier is I'll take it one step further. And what if it so now it's not okay? This is not reality, but it really is to me it's an interesting thought experiment to play out in your own head. So what if it was a guarantee though? You know, like everything that you want, everything that you are going to have to work really hard for however long. Let's just say years. I won't put a number on it, but it will be multiple years, and you need to put that time in order to have your best outcomes and live your best life. If you knew from day one, if you could just make it, now you don't get to know for how long though, but if you don't give up, you'll get through however whatever the time frame is. And once you do, it happens. You really do make it to paradise. You really do get to see what it's like when your grass for your dreams are as green as possible. I think maybe not everybody, that's tough. That's definitely a reach for me to say 100% of the human population. But I believe the vast majority would immediately begin. Especially considering the pain of the current situation. Now, I'll take it back a little bit. You remember what I said? Depending on the kind of past that you come from, well, that's a whole lot of suffering. That's a whole lot of regret. That's a lot of, if I could go back, I would have said this, I would have did this, I would have went this way, not that way. Okay, I would have tried this instead of trying, right? So much, so much. And yet, if it really does all work out in the end, it doesn't actually matter. What matters is what you get out of it. What matters is that you learn, you get better, you grow, you mature, you progress. You see, that none of that is possible unless you believe. It just can't be done. I mean, if it can be, if there are, and there definitely, you know what, there definitely are human beings living like this. So it's not like, it's not impossible. But man, I look at that, and for anyone who is living a life in which, oh, they don't think this can work out at all, but they'll go anyways. It's just such a miserable way to live. I don't want you to. I'd rather you be as hopeful as possible. Okay, so that you could, imagine doing it in a way in which I I will simply choose to because I can, because you have that control over your own perspective. It's one of the few things any human being really has like genuine control over. Okay, and then you would point it towards the direction of, oh, this is gonna work. This will happen. Okay, excuse me for just 1 second. It's kind of warm tonight. I have my fan on, and it is just like killing my eyes right now. Oh my god! I was like, wait a minute. Why am I blinking so much more than usual? Okay, so see, this is the real power of belief. The real power of hope in life. I think about all the people that have lost it, and it's not, for no good reason. This world that we live in as sentient, intellectual beings, trying to be kind, but being given an existence that, makes us want to go crazy, essentially. It is as much of a battle with your external world as it is with yourself, internally speaking. There, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, just all of this whole, everything that, as far as humanity has reached, uh, up to this present day, in terms of the game that must be played, the society we've built, I don't mean to, sound like an ungrateful youngin who is ignorant of how hard things used to be before the internet and before smartphones and electricity and, just the technological innovation of modernity. I really don't. It's just, at the same time, I am a man that believes every time period is going to have its own unique challenges. All right. One that never changed was any person who wants success, that before the rest of the world could even begin to help them in terms of hope and belief, that they would have to first hold it for themselves. It's almost like you become afraid. It's like 'cause you're so used to the negativity, that you could get from this world, depending on the kind of life that you live so far. And you get really used to it. And so you get so used to it, you don't dare to. You don't allow yourself to open up to what I continue tonight to call the power of hope. In case something really does, something special, something amazing, something earned, nice, really does happen to you. Just for it to go wrong again, something along those lines, that maybe behind a hope is a wonderful outcome that is really just bringing more pain when it inevitably goes wrong. But see, at this point, do you see the game that negativity plays? You see where pessimism takes you. Okay. And no matter how defensively you could try and wield it, it's destructive. It destroys any notion of, attempt or motivation that you would have for more, for better, for a greater life, a greater existence. Honestly, and most importantly, just a greater version of you, not for the rest of the world. That, I believe, is inevitable, but first and foremost, for you, bro. So that you are able to look in the mirror and see, this is what happened to me when I just kept going, when I wouldn't stop trying because I held on. Again, it's not that it's impossible to do that without believing. It's going to be really rough. You kind of turn yourself into a zombie in this way. It gets very robotic like, without the comfort that will be able to work, that one day it's going to happen. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just how I'm going to treat it. It's not that you foolishly, kind of ignorantly, or outlandishly believe life is going to be amazing for you simply because you think that. What I'm trying to articulate tonight is that going about your reality as if it really will not hurt you. It's not it's not a negative. It won't detract from you. It is not detrimental to your life. People have been conditioned for whatever reason. You could attribute a number of reasons here, but it seems to me so many have been conditioned to believe the opposite. That with hope comes pain and disappointment and just more misery. That's only if it goes wrong. If it does go wrong and you're still alive, then honestly, that may very well be just a part of the process. Like, for it to really go wrong, it would have to be the last time it goes wrong. But that is death. That's inevitable, and it's nothing to worry about. I know I'm saying that any of us are going to. I think even the most iron-hearted and the most steel-clad among human beings, men or women, you feel it eventually. Existential crisis or whatever you'd like to call it, you'll feel it. It comes for you, okay? Because it will happen, but it's out of our control. Just like the final outcome for all your hard work in self-improvement. It is something you have to be there for. I just want you to be able to make it. Make it all the way so you can have your answer, so you can know without a doubt. Was I right? Am I going to just end up being a gigantic fool for believing and hoping so feverishly for so long? I doubt it. That is the optimism. No, that is the optimist in me speaking. But I mean, if you could really just go about life like this for yourself, I do everything I do every single day. I work this hard, and I stay on top of my workouts, and I consistently eat healthy. I maximize everything that I can. Okay, biohacking or not, you maximize everything that you can to ensure your life is just as solid of a foundation as possible for you to do all the work that is needed, for you to really everything, all the practice, all the repetition, all the study, all the research, all the actions, all the attempts, all the risk, right? Paperwork, you know networking, social interactions and whatnot, learning, teaching. Okay, and it just goes on and on and on. It really is a lot to do. It's a lot of experience of life that, again, human beings will lose. You rob yourself of it because you don't want to have anything to do with it. Okay, purpose, for men especially, self-improvement, to be better in life and to have better, to do better. You don't want to have anything to do with that because of this very, I'm calling it the very false belief, a lie, so to speak. Nothing could ever come of it. So if that isn't true, then see, this is what I mean. If that isn't true, I know, I know it's an if, but it begs the possibility. So if none of that is true, then your best life, your wife, your children, your all the money, okay, all the success, okay, like, just existence as wonderful as possible for you was not was not. It's not that you failed; it's that you gave it away. This is what I mean. It's all forfeited. Like, oh wait, as in, and if you believe in God, it's like, you pass and you get up there, all right, and we all stand before God. If I'm correct in terms of biblically speaking, the Christian faith, the belief is that every single human being will stand before the Almighty to be judged. It's kind of a review. It's kind of okay. So, um, while you were alive on Earth, let's see what happened. And then imagine you find out you were supposed to have all of this. What is all of this? Everything that you're looking for right now. Everything that requires all the hard work. Everything that requires all the change. All the transformation, the evolution, and everything. And God so painfully would say something along the lines of, it's odd that's how it turned out for you, because it was supposed to be like this. And then so you see truly the defining factor, irrefutable evidence. Okay, the one, just that one key piece in life to differentiate misery and just pain, burden, and suffering. And that is contrasted with paradise, and that the difference was you just couldn't allow yourself to believe it could happen for you before it did. Hope is so crazy in this way. And if if you're still with me, if any of this is clear, it's such a divine win-win in this way. And why do I say win-win? It's because according to reality, now just because you hope and just because you believe doesn't that's not, it's not a promise. I don't You could look at it like that. You should look at it like that. I do my very best to keep it real here at the Pillars of Man. So I don't want to push it like that. Instead, it's treating it like it's a promise. That's the difference right there. Okay. This is, and it's very justified for people to call this delusion. But the win is that, okay, so you go, you do, and you live it, and you try as hard as you can for as long as you can. Let's say the rest of your life. What will come of that, if it's not your best outcomes, is going to be nothing short of, just the sweetest life you can imagine. That is an inevitability, I will say. It's just, if the dream is, the dream partner and the dream home and, the millions and millions and millions and whatnot, even if you don't get that and you don't make it all the way there, you have to understand that the transformation itself, just the evolution, and all the phases you'll go through between the man you are today and your final form, the ultimate version of you, the king that I always argue is in you. It's in all men. That just to exist as him would be a one of a kind, a once in a lifetime experience. Your greatest, my argument. And that's if you don't get it. And if you do, then the rest is history. If you do, then it's a wrap, bro. You it's gonna work. You're gonna be fine. Everything will work out for you. Both come from, I know I can. Both of this comes from, I trust. I trust I'll make it. I trust I'm not going to let myself down. I trust that me years from now still will not give up. Okay? Okay? And so the opposite of this, this is when I accuse men of cope. The opposite of this is lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. If it was a promise and you were going to have everything you were supposed to have, but you didn't believe, you don't get it. If you don't believe that you won't get it because it was always in your cards that, like, no matter what you did, your final outcome was it would not happen for you, then you just get to say you're right. And it's still awful. See, the lose-lose is either way you go down the route of nothing changes and a man doesn't do anything for himself, and there is no transformation, he doesn't embark upon anything. There is no comeback, there's no story of any kind. There's just nothing at all. Maybe just the simple repetition of some humble habits that he accepts is enough for him to die with for the rest of his life. That acceptance is, I don't know if that's what guys really want for themselves. I don't know if that's the truth. Okay? That when, that man is alone, okay, and he doesn't have to front for anybody, and he allows himself to be honest, I don't know if that's what he would say. Hey, this is it. I'm living perfectly. I'm living right along the lines of everything that I already want is here and I'm good. I'm not so sure. Given the vast realm of possibility itself, just what could happen when you would treat it as if you're going to make it. And then I think at that point, you just live like that for long enough. You really do. You really do. And I say that not to try to, wrap all of this up with like, kind of like a Disney fairy tale ending. But I say all of that because when you look at a lot of people who really are wildly successful, and I don't think it's definitely not a coincidence that a unifying factor for all of them is that no matter what, they didn't stop. The greats, success stories, the perseverance, and all of that. A lot of people are humble about it, especially in the interviews. Just keep it going. You're gonna be all right. Don't worry about it too much. Stay in the process. Keep right. It's like what you hear them say. You don't ever really get to see them go through like the years and years and years of absolute poop. Of just all the days where they had to wake up and they hated themselves, hated life, couldn't bear to keep going, in so much pain they could cry. No one was around. No one cared. No one knew. It, who knows? It's so tough. You really don't know if that's what you got to get through to have everything that you want. And if you do, bro, and if you do, you can. But see, and that leaves us with there's only one question left after that. Will you go? Will you try? Bro. Tonight, I wanted to take some time, all right, to go into this deep dive. All right. Really all to tell you that saying yes will always be the best choice you could ever make for yourself. And if you're going to make that choice, then please do yourself a favor. Don't do it the way I did it for far too long. Believe out the gate. Out the gate. Hold it for as long as you can. Protect it. Okay? Keep it close. Okay? It is extremely precious. No one here and no one here. You'll make it. You will. You're going to make it, bro. I say that with all of my heart and soul. And, you have some trouble and interested in more self-improvement conversations like this. I kind of go into everything and anything that covers male self-improvement. You check out this podcast as you're watching the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self-improvement surrounding philosophy, masculinity, wellness, lifestyle. I'm your host, Kumo. I continue to reshape the modern male reality, giving any man who wishes to pull the very best out of himself a way to do that. I thank you so much for watching, bro. If you like content like this, hit that subscribe button for me, and I hope to see you real soon in my next one. Same time, same place, right back here. But until then, take it easy. Take good care of yourself. And I love you so much. Peace.